Hello. Let's see the job of database administrator, limited by Liman Tree Limited Singapore branch. The office is located at the downtown of Singapore. Full-time job and professional operation. Require 10 years experience. Salary is 8,000 to 10,000 monthly. There has two applicants post this job. Let's see the role and the responsibility. Database administrator for development, test, and production server with Microsoft SQL Server 2005 and 2008. 2008 R2 on Windows 2003, 2008 server. It's so simple. Next line. Installation, configuration, and security setting for SQL Server 2005, 2007, 2008, and R2 standalone servers. Still simple. Upgrading and migration the database to SQL Server 2005 to 2008, R2 and 2012. Upgrade the database. It is so simple. You just copy the database file and recopy it again to the same location. Because for Microsoft SQL Server, the database file is saved to the DBF file, and it can be copied and backup very easy. It always another named for code backup and code recovery, similar to Oracle. But for Oracle, we always use the import and output command to export all of the data, and so we can deal with the index calls, and when we import the database by IMP, so we can rebuild the index and we can release the logs of the database. But for SQL Server is a different principle. So let's see the next line. Responsible for ensuring availability and the performance of the database that support the system. Simple job. Possesses excellent writing and verbal communication skills in English. And possesses excellent time management skill, keeping deadline, meeting goals, multitasking, coordinating tasks. Possesses excellent organization skills, following direction, analysis, assessment, evaluation, documentation, reporting, attention to detail, solid understanding of ITIL and the lean operation module. So I think this may be a very big company. They need the professional role for the database to monitor all of this daily routine. I think for the DBA or Microsoft SQL Server, there should know something you can do, because all of this designer is very simple. Just for SQL Server, all of the system performance depends on the hardware. But just for the Microsoft systems, they're different from the Red Hat, Linux, and AX systems. Because you must deal on with the SGA and the share memory and the index and the log, and so you can turn in the database and have very big performance information and promotion. And if you can deal on with the Oracle database, so you can do the MS SQL Server very easy. I think so. Next line. Must be a self-starter with a strong attention to detail. Yes, you must do your job by yourself, but I think it is a very easy job. Next line. Solid understand all operating system like Windows, Red Hat, Linux, and middle level skills or Solaris and AX. But I don't know why they think the Microsoft SQL Server can install on Solaris and AX. Maybe this job must at the same time hand on the Red Hat Linux and Solaris. And all this maybe one job you can do. Okay, next line. Control migration of programs, database change, reference data change, and manual changes through the development life cycle. Manual change, I don't know what is a manual change. Maybe some requirement from the development teams. Okay, next line. Performs database reorganizations as required to assist the performance and ensure maximum uptime of the database. I think for the performance of Windows should be very low because all the memory management for Windows is very low, and if you have a very big IDC, you can find all of these server maybe combined with Windows server, and almost half of the CPU, the TDP, total TDP, I forgot the abbreviation, but I think this is the jargon of the to check the performance of the system, because for Linux we can have the performance 8% or 9% to Oracle system, Oracle database, but for Microsoft Windows they always have just 50% of the performance to the SQL Server. Okay, maybe I can very skilled and for English, and I can describe more better. Okay, let's see the next line. Put standard in place to ensure that all application design and the code is processed with the proper integrity, security, and performance. The DBA will perform reviews on design and code frequently to ensure the site standards are being adhered to. I think know some working you can do on Microsoft SQL Server because the performance is very low. Next line, evaluates the release of SQL and Oracle and its tools. Yes, they have the Oracle database and third-party products to ensure that the site is running the products that are most appropriate. Planning is also performed by the DBA along with the application developer and system administrators to ensure that all new products used or released upgrade take place with minimal impact. Yes, DBA they must do this work. Next line, provides technical support to application development teams. This is usually in the form of a help desk. The DBA is usually the point of contact of the Oracle Corporation. But I think there is some principle for Oracle database. For example, if we want to develop some new features for the just an example for the ERP systems, act as the DBA. Maybe 10 years ago, I acted as a DBA or Oracle. We always have some requirement for the developers because if you want to design a SQL statement, there is a different statement. There is a different statement and different performance to handle to perform the same events. For example, you want to select all records from the database to check about the inventory of this year. If you carry on the SQL statement, you can find if you the long statement is low performance, and the short statement is more efficient. And at the same time, if you have different how to say the 语法 let's check about deep language 语法 grammar. If you use different grammar, for example, you use the join table, the left join, right join, and cross join, and different sort. There is different performance for the SQL statement. It is a very huge influence to the database performance. And another one is we can find the backend performance by the Oracle tools. Oracle, they have tools to inspection the hard pass time for the statement. For example, you can check the running time for the SQL statement. The duration time maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes. There is so many difference. We can test it by the Oracle tools. Okay, just to say this, because there is so long time that I have not used the Oracle tools. Next line. Enforce and maintain database constant to ensure integrate all the database constant online service. Okay. Administrators all database objects, including table, clusters. How to pronunciation?
Clusters.
Clusters, index, views, sequence, packages, and procedures. Yes, you must check the index for the table. For example, we have met some performance problem about the index deleted by someone, and due to the very low performance for the system respond too many times. And for views, sometimes we can use views to have the more quickly access for the database. You can get the result of the inventory and the sales, but sometimes we can use another view named how to say 物化视图 physical view, maybe this name. You can create the physical view, so the performance will very high. Sequence, packages, and procedures. But I think you must pay attention to the dictionary. Dictionary is very important for Oracle, but for SQL Server is not so important. Next line, troubleshoot with the problems regarding the database applications and development tools. Regarding database applications, I think this is not very clear description for this sentence. Okay, let's see next line. DBA should process a sound understand of the business. Yes, because for example, for the retail business, the inventory is very important. But if there is too much inspection, searching of the inventory, maybe due to the very low performance of the systems. But for example, another is for the share stock market systems. The online exchange, online transaction is very frequently. If you cannot provide very quickly searching and inspection of the transaction data, you will fail. So the index for the online transaction is very important. You must put all of these contact into the shared memory to the SGA, and build a very good dictionary and the index, and you can check and limit the statement about the range. For example, you cannot use a SQL statement to searching 1 year's record very easy. You must have some limited, and you can feedback the data one by one or one page by one page, and maybe you can have some performance improvement by using different page. Just mean if one page can contain 4 KB byte, and you can upgrade it to 8 KB, maybe 24 KB, and maybe 2 MB, and maybe you can have very huge performance improvement for the Oracle database. But I think it is very easy to carry on this on MS SQL Server, because for the Microsoft SQL Server, you can I'm not very sure about how about 2012, but on 2008 Microsoft SQL Server, you cannot change the page size if you deploy the database. Maybe they can change by the new versions, but I'm not sure about it. But I think you can very quickly understand it by check the manual from Microsoft. And I have the experience to improve the performance of the database. For example, at that time, 10 years ago, we have changed the page file from 4 KB to 2 MB. So the performance improved very huge. At that time, the SGA memory we set to maybe 12 GB, very big SGA. But we after we adjusted the page file to 2 MB, so the SGA decreased to only 2 GB. So it is a very good performance for the hardware, and very good improvement for the performance, and we saved so many money in the project implementation. Okay, let's see the next slide. DBA should have sound communication skills with management, development teams, vendors. Yes, you must have good communication between them, because in fact, most of the performance improvement should be carried on by the developer, not by the DBA. DBA just inspection all of this performance by deploy after the deploy of the system. But the developer, the programmers, and the project manager, they can do the job at the beginning of the project, and they can have some preparation for the code regulation, so we can recall. For example, everyone should not write a statement beyond 100 characters. Yes, I think for my experience, we always limited the statement at 50 characters. So it is have a huge how to say 表现huge behaves, huge expression. No, not this. Not this word. It a huge performance improvement for the DBA for the database. If you have very short SQL statement, you have the more big performance improvement. Okay, let's see next line. system administrator and other related service provider. Okay, I forgot to rate it. DBA should have sound combination skills with management, development teams, vendors, system administrator, and other related service provider. Okay, must be a self-start with a strong attention to detail and work on 24 and 7 shift. Wow, no rest. 24/7 shift. Wow, what a wonderful job. Okay, I have almost all of these skills: IT, Oracle, application development, Linux, SQL, Solaris, operating systems, SQL Server, database administration, ARX, Windows database, Red Hat. I think a strong attention to detail is very important. I do not want to add it because this is a common 滥用 how to say 滥用 abuse and abuse the words to person skills management development. I think this is also abuse and technology support. Everyone can do this, so no need to add this one. Okay, this company is listen and trouble like to trouble info technology limited Singapore branch. So weird company name. Okay, let's close the